What's up, everybody? I want to be nice and comfy for this one because this one deserves the couch. Now, anybody that's been following me for a while and what I'm doing understands that I have earned a whole lot of enemies. And it all started right outside this window. The main office of Goshen Historic Track is literally outside this window. I'm looking at their flag flying right now. Main entrance of Historic Track is over here. I'm in 40 Park Place in my office now. There have been quite a few people there that have been just absolutely, with the freedom of anonymity and with no fear of repercussion. I'm going to move this camera a little bit. Yeah, I like that better. Without any fear of repercussion, because they feel as though that they're protected there, have been taking some pretty good shots at me, and I've learned to deal with it now. It's happened so long and so often it doesn't affect me. But my family, my kids, my wife, what I've done, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a thief, I'm a lowlife, I'm a deadbeat. I got thrown out of here, blah 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 blah. But there's been a couple in particular, and we're going to just stick with this one, Gaagoots. If you go on Horseplop enough, you'll understand how much this guy has terrorized me. Now, a couple of months ago, he was angry because he thought that I got his IP address, and he went on a whole night tirade and then disappeared for 3 months. Allegedly, he went and got LifeLock and this and the other thing. Now, isn't it quite ironic that someone who's anonymous, who attacks you for years and says whatever they want and accuses you of whatever they want without, again, the fear of repercussion, is worried that he might get found out? Well, there's always a reason, because they have something to lose. So in this case, this individual, turns out he does have a lot to lose. So I stayed off Horseplop, and I swore I wouldn't log back in there unless there was a good reason. And tonight there's a good reason. So I did log back in there, and I posted this link for them to see, because he came back about a month ago, I guess a month ago, and I'm watching, and again, freely attacking me, and I'm just whatever. I'm not paying attention. But there's this other account that he started to buddy up with and was talking to, called Equine Rescue Scams. Now, if you remember, or if you follow my group on Facebook, you may recognize that name as another individual who used to attack me and contacted my wife and everything, you name it, free for all. She's no longer with us. Let's just say it that way. Sadly, she's gone. So a friend of hers picked up the slack, and her name is Catherine. Right, Gaagoots? Anyway, Gaagoots found a friend, and they were talking and rapping back and forth and attacking me and attacking others and da-da-da-da-da. But turns out that Gaagoots started contacting that account, Catherine of Equine Rescue Scams, and they started to talk about me and were exchanging information. And he got to the point where he trusted her so much, he told her who he is. There she is. That is the page. It says, "Welcome, Equine Rescue Scams." And you see all those messages from Gaagoots. Sorry, it's printed small, but it gets better. That look familiar, buddy? I'm going to read you all the conversations and the messages that Gaagoots sent to Equine Rescue Scams, Catherine, but not until I tell you this. Very important. All of this has already been, I've already started the process where I call this arrogance over intelligence. Again, the false sense of security that they have on Horseplop, that they would actually accuse me, the one person there that is actually themselves. I'm not hiding my identity while they attack freely. And once you poke a little too deep on them and they feel as though that they've been exposed, they're threatening you. This gentleman would never threaten because he would have to give up his name. Now, he went to all the trouble of protecting himself online, LifeLock, and a few of his other friends, so I wouldn't get to them because they're all over there. They were under the impression that I was hacking Horseplop and I was logging IPs. But the one thing that this fool didn't protect himself against is his own ignorance. And he friended Catherine. So anyway, he sent her screenshots of a ticket that I had to pay last year for a case that's been disposed of 2 years ago. What am I saying? 2 years ago. That this was his, he was going to bury me. And she was already aware of all that. She says, no, because they were talking about information back and forth on how they could, finish me. So then he goes, says to her, I've got so many different things here. I don't even know where to start. Oh, here we go. Let's just take them out. These are the two fresh ones. Bear with me here. I don't know why they're out of order. I printed so many of these, I lost where I was. Hang on. So they get talking. Oh, why are these two backwards? Okay. So she says to him, she sends him his email address. And he responds with, I would never share your email address. You have my word on that. So now they're chatting back and forth. So she responds with, well, my name is Catherine, blah, blah, blah. I'm in New Jersey. And we've been starting complaints against him that have been filed in New York State for money that was taken when I was at Silent Farm and and they were saying it was fraudulent and they're going to sue me for everything. But when I had all those rescue horses, the horses were never fed, underweight, blah, 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 right? So he comes back with, and this is Gaagoots, to Catherine, equine rescue scams on Horseplop. Nice to meet you, Catherine. My name is Stephen, Stephen. My good buddy Mark Ford has gotten screwed over by this guy as well as some of my other friends. I'm reading this as the way he's typing it. Okay, just mistakes and all. I had a friend named Wes that passed away that I have a personal against Petrelli because he screwed my friends and acts like he really cares about horses when he really doesn't. He also tried hacking into my accounts. That's bullshit. Thankfully, he failed. I know his brother Frank says that he's been nothing but a deadbeat. I help you any way I can imagine. I get information. I pass it on to you. And she goes, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Now they're exchanging whatever. And then he comes back again. She goes and says a couple other things. He says, I talk to Mark all the time. She says she wants to speak to anyone that could possibly help her claims against me, I should say. So he comes back with, I talk to Mark all the time. I'll definitely let him know that I spoke with you. Mark had an infraction on his farm where they rerouted a stream going through his property. SCM, me, shopping cart Mike, found out about it. We all knew about it. Got friendly with the neighbor. No, the neighbor contacted me years after he documented everything. They started flying drones over the property, broadcasting it, and all over the internet. They settled a lawsuit. Mike sure didn't help matters any. First of all, I didn't have anything to do with that. That was Mr. Bayak, the neighbor across the street from where they were doing all this crap, and you saw the videos of the horses and that and those animals and the topsoil, whatever they were dumping crap that was coming in from New York City on the Farm 2 property, the property that Ford purchased off of Stratton. What's his face is Jordan's dad. I had nothing to do with that other than I was given all the information and the link to the only in Wallkill document, meaning what that man put together in his lawsuit. So I was given all the pictures, all the video, everything. The video you guys see that I posted with those two horses, the mares and the red pickup with the trailer, and the guy says they just killed those horses, right? That was Mr. Bayak took that video from his front yard, and it was verified by Senior Investigator Jan Golding, New York State Police. When you have over 400 horses on the farm, you have a mishap. One of the horses had to be put down and buried. But of course, Mike lied to everybody, telling people that Mark shot the horse, then buried the horse in a manure pile. So I said, oh my Lord. And Catherine says to him, well, I would like to talk to Mark and get any information, a statement, whatever, anything that they can use in this group of people who are suing me, Catherine and her friends, that could help their case. My history. He responds, I will let Mark know we talked. If it's okay with you, if not, I won't say anything. So she says, yeah, of course. And then anybody else. So I asked someone who knew her, and this is where I find out. And she says to him, starts running off names. And then he goes, I don't know how he comes. Yes, I'm the Steve that he talks about. I wouldn't contact Mark at this point. He's got a lot going on with his health. We threw him out of Goshen. Now, when I read this, I initially thought, Steve, not Steve, I thought at first. We threw him out of Goshen. He's been thrown out of Mark Ford's farm and a bunch of other places. First of all, I was never thrown out of Mark Ford's farm. I was never stabled at Mark Ford's farm. I never worked up there at that time. I called Mark Ford, asked if he had stalls when everything went down. And he said to me, no, I got no stalls. I didn't know at the time. He just didn't want me there because he'd already talked to Steve Jones about what happened. Whatever. At that point, I was still on good terms with Mark because I had no idea of any of this crap other than I got thrown out of Goshen. And I called Mark and I said, if you got stalls to lay me over for a week or two until I figure out what I'm doing. He didn't have any stalls, but whatever. So you're lying about that, Mr. Steve. He is a Steve, just not the Steve we thought. Mr. Quick is a nice old man and his wife has a little farm, Silent Farm. It's not such a little farm, but that piece of garbage moved in there with some of these scam horses. That's a lie. We did that together and they were all aware of it. Everything was paid for. Everything was paid till the end until they were being threatened by people. I'm not going to get into that tonight. This piece of garbage moved in with some of these scam horses and horses have left without paying. So then she says, oh my God, Steve, I know the people that go, she thought he's Steve President. No, I'm not Steve Jones. I have horses with Steve and a couple with Mark. I am good friends with both of them. She responds with, wait a second. I used to work there in the 80s for, I know who you are. Your dad. She worked for Skip Lewis. She dated Mike Lewis once. She was there when chairman of the board when they redid this barn over here. They called it the Skip Lewis barn, and he had a year lease, I think, on it, or 3 years. I forget what it was. She was working here, so she knew him, and she says, "Oh my God, that's so cool. I'm glad to see you're doing well. You followed in your father's footsteps. This gentleman just happens to be a local politician." And then she says about such a small world or whatever. And she says, and plus, by the way, everything that we've saved a lot of what this guy has done over the last me on Horseplop and everywhere else, posting whatever nonsense. So he comes back and says, I have saved some of the things he said about us saved as well. I'm going to go in the phone. It's a lot easier to read the whole thing. Hang on a second here. Because the real juicy part, he goes on a little bit of a ramble. And I'm going to read you a few of the other things, posts that he on Horseplop talks about me, my personal life, Gina Gent. He's a racist, by the way, and it's documented. I guess I could say all this first. But what she does is she says who he is. I got to get this off the other phone. Just bear with me here for a second. I was going to set up at the other computer because there's so many different things I need to read here. I wanted the hard copies instead of just reading excerpts. But apparently, one second here, this is going to be simple. I'm just logging in real quick. Come on. One second. Page 1. All right, much better. Yeah, see, it's all in order. So then he goes on to say, Steve Jones told me that he was a habitual complainer, constantly complaining about everything. Steve finally had enough when he was complaining about the ice conditions on the track, which I was, and the ice conditions specifically about on the driveways. That's the truth. Yes. There's only so much you can do. Actually take care of the track, take the snow off. That, like I say now, I post those videos. But he was relentless. Yes, I was. I was training there. So he goes, I have another friend who told me he was going around to all the barns in Goshen complaining about the track conditions. No, I wasn't. They were coming to me and agreeing with me, but they were afraid to say anything. One trainer told me he was nothing but trouble. I stayed in my barn. So then she goes on to say, oh my God, again, and says, so you are blah, blah, blah. And then he agrees and he goes, yes, and it's a small world. I'm going to refer to this gentleman as Steve B. And just leave it at that right now. Because, I want to get this all in order. This has been filed with FBI Cyber IC3, Goshen PD Village, New York State Troopers, New York State Attorney General's Office, Public Integrity Bureau, specifically because it's a politician. I will be speaking with the Times Herald Record. ethics conflict of interest most common when it comes with a members of town boards, and how to file. That's all being done. And what makes it worse is not only is this cyber harassment, he's been attacking me, directing people, defaming me for years anonymously. And while he's been doing this, not realizing that it's all logged on Horseplop. So I spent hours downloading, rolling, recording, and years, but I got more than enough. And plus, once all these and an investigation opens, they'll be able to, if they have to, even if it's overseas, Turks Caicos is where they're, I believe now, wherever they are. But I've already had the Village of Goshen Police Department on Horseplop. But just some of the things that he said in the position that Steve B, or is it L Steve B? Steve? Yeah, I do my homework. Gaagoots, sorry. One quote, and I got to retract a lot. Now here, I will definitely help you anyway. This was just recently. He's talking to equine rescue scams on the board. And I'm watching all this. I will definitely help you in any way I can. You might try reaching out to his ex-wife. Cyber harassment. And they know who you are. Now, again, this will be included with my ethics complaint to the State Attorney General's office, among many others, but I'm just pulled out a few, okay? His racism starts here with someone says he's talking about Nikki Haley, politics. Someone says Haley needs a whatever, and then he responds with, no doubt it will be a black 10-inch that she will thank him for. That's a local politician right there saying that. Times Her Record's going to love this, by the way. All things SEM. This was on January 31st, 2024. What amazes me is how these suckers fall for the bullshit scams. It's amazing, me. Look at the bullshit picture on his YouTube page with him at the podium with a cabinet of people behind him like he's the president of the United States. Actually, that was on 9th Avenue at the Writers' Law thing. And yes, that was members of PETA, night class, just general public, people that love horses. Yeah, I was speaking there with Bob Holden. You're 1,000% correct that he was going to do this he said he was going to do this out of the goodness of his heart. Now he's looking for donations. Mike, just get a fucking job and leave everybody alone. It's sickening how this rat bastard constantly bashes successful businessmen. Yet the scum of the earth like Eric Moeller, Ross Cohen, another piece of effing dog shit, Austin Gilbert, not a peep about them, who's effed everybody they've come in contact with. Ross Cohen being the golden J, more of his racism or anti-Semitism in this one, because there's many of it, including his digs at Jeff Corral. Effed Wes Fisher out of a truck and money. He's still parading around like an arrogant J. Remember, this is a politician who holds a high position in Orange County. Shush. It's not going to shush. I never use this phone. It's actually trying to update. Power off. Not a peep in this, and peep out of this effing bum out of Goshen. Well, I went into some pretty deep stuff about Mr. Cohen. I don't know anything about Austin Gilbert. And Eric Moeller, I haven't heard that name or even been near that man in 30 years since Monticello Raceway. No idea. Here's another one from March 9th, 2024, where it says Trump beats Nikki Haley in South Carolina GOP. Now, this is this same man again, Gaagoots. Really, the hillbillies cause more trouble than anyone else in this country. How about all the, I don't want to say it, The African Americans, he doesn't say it that way, that are walking out of the stores and robbing all the high end jewelry stores throughout the country. This is a high ranking politician in Orange County who burned down Ferguson, Missouri, while Obama didn't say an effing peep. All the shootings in major cities are done by the hillbillies. So we go. At least he's fair. Why are all the major department stores leaving the city? I'm sorry. When are we going to have a White History Month? Not racist much, are you, Steve B? Tell me one thing a African American man invented. Answer: zero. The majority of what what he actually uses another word for them. The majority of what African American kids are fatherless. Hillbillies raise their families, don't they? You talk like a real effing a-hole. Make sure you get another vaccine, dummy. These are all facts. The people that Biden is letting in our country that we have to support and pay for the health care, are they hillbilly? Now, this is him. We're not done, but there's hundreds of posts. I just pulled out a couple that jumped out at me recently. Gaagoots. Steve B. How the village of Monticello became a sewer pit. So they're talking about Monticello. Someone says something about anti-Semitism and racism. It's got to stop. This is one of the guys that actually hates me on Horseplot, but I'm on his side when it comes to stuff like this. So his response is, so you're saying the African Americans didn't ruin the village of Monticello. We're talking about Monticello, not the different towns in the areas that surround it. A little bit more banter. He comes back. I agree. If you live in the real world, you realize that he doesn't use the word that I'm saying, African Americans have ruined the village of Monticello. And how did they originally settle there? I'll let you figure it out. Another, June 6, 2025, Dreamland Farm Estate sale. I called Gina on this one, and she couldn't believe that this guy's even talking about her. Or he started to try poke at me because they had an estate sale because selling the farm and emptied everything out of there. And he says he went there. Okay, great. We have cameras to go through and this date. Dreamland Farm Estate sale. Sorry, Mike, couldn't meet you today. It was a Dreamland Estate sale. Mike, what a disaster. I asked a work about you and said, oh, that dirty, funny guy. Glad he's out of here. Never been out of there. You know what I noticed about you? Everything you touch turns to shit. Comes back and I said, come on, Gootsy, who do you, both are, I knew who was there. He didn't like this, that I knew who was running the sale down in the pole barn. Then he goes, $30 to $5 for stall mats. They're 30 at the new Tractor Supply. I can go buy them there. I wasn't running that sale. This one, I don't even want to post this stuff. But is Horse Haggle a website for, again, African American people? They're going talking about, and he goes, unbelievable. It's okay for them. Though I love the way beautiful white liberal women flock to those ends. I'll repeat that. This is the politician here in somewhat of a high-ranking position here in Orange County says this. Time seller record, ethics board, all the above are going to love this. He loves how the way beautiful white liberal women flock to these ends. And then I actually responded, I'm sure she's worried about what some coward, nobody racist who is too scared to admit who they are on Horseplop says. I don't even remember doing this. This is in 2024 when I was MP. Because they accuse me of using multiple names. It's the same account. I just screw with them and change my screen name. This is the same account. Same as nothing changes. He goes, who the F is talking to you? Get back in your effing dreamland hole. If you're lucky, and Gina couldn't believe he said this. And she's not like that. She's not horseman barn trash. This woman is an incredibly successful financier. Maybe Gina will sit on your face and use you as her toilet. And that's the way I'm going to leave that. But, Gaagoots, Mr. B, there's a lot of truth to what Karen said. I knew your dad very well, actually. He knew me very well. He was the president of the board when I was taking care of Goshen Historic Track. As a child, when Vince Brescia called me in the paddock at Monticello Raceway during qualifiers and asked me, Michael, can you do me a favor? Of course, Mr. B. That's what I called him. And that's what got me started on learning how to maintain a track. And old man Coons taught me. We had the first Larkham and Mitchell track conditioner in New York State here that was donated by Bob Asherman in the Meadowlands, blah, 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 blah. But what my point again was, boy, did you screw up. And I mean, you screwed up royally. Not only have you screwed up, I thought for a second, maybe, I gotta read the rest of the, where he chickens out. I forgot about this. There's more. Where Catherine asks him, well, can I put you on the record? And then he goes, no, I would rather not, because he said he was going to offer, and he starts getting cold feet. So then he posted into Horseplop, well, just call Steve Jones directly and contact him directly to Catherine. And then you could tell, because I started to see her pressing him, that well, these are great. There's more. There's so much more. It's hilarious. Here it is. About contacting Steve, and he finally responds to her. Do you remember these Gaagoots? Look familiar? No, don't mention my name to Steve. Just do it on your own. I want to stay neutral. He's worried because now he realizes this might happen, and I'm sure probably Steve Jones wants nothing to do with this. Well, maybe Steve Jones needs to get his group, get a leash on your boy. I am also dealing with lawyers. Then he comes right back like a minute later. As a matter of fact, leave Steve Jones out of this for now. He's got enough going on. I don't think he would be too accommodating at this point. I'm sure he wouldn't, especially when he finds out who's got all this. So, if anybody with half a brain understands what's going on here, the implications are bottomless. You've got people who have been threatening me, defaming me, harassing me, telling others to contact members of my family. I mean, if you go back on there, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of instances of this happening. And it's all documented and cannot be erased unless they decide to, but that's too late. We've taken care of that. And I know exactly, like I said, I've already taken care of where it had to be filed and who to take it to. That's why I was trying to explain to people that the worst thing I can do is go silent. I haven't posted on Horseplop for over what's today? The 24th? 2 months to the date tomorrow. The last time I posted on Horseplop was November 24th. Today's the 23rd. And there was good reason. I was up to something that these people cannot comprehend. It's called using your brain and having the patience to let these idiots talk and bury themselves. Like I said, they went to all this trouble to protect themselves. Attorneys, LifeLock, he's making threat. How can you threaten someone who's anonymous? And people have mentioned that on the forum. You're the one that's the coward. Petrelli is here as Petrelli. You're threatening Petrelli, all this stuff you say. And then when he says that, you think, oh, by the way, that let me go get this for you, Gaagoots. You stupid. I'm not even going to say it. He talks about this is how stupid this clown is. And he's still saying it. How I posted in a YouTube video the other day that I got hold of his IP again, and that it was from Senate in Montgomery. This is called using an educated guess. When I started to put all the connect the dots. Now, if you look closely at this IP scan, what do you see where it says IP address? There was nothing there. This was created with ChatGPT, you stupid effing moron. I took out all the stuff that said it was for entertainment purposes and everything. And I knew someone as ignorant as you and arrogant as you would buy that. And that Montgomery thing was a shot in the dark. Now, do people have the IP that they need to go through? Yes. That would be called law enforcement. But you are stupid enough to believe it. Hook, line, and sinker. There were two other things I wanted. Oh, here it is. My favorite quote, my favorite comments he made today is, "This is all happening. I am not on Horseplop. I've only posted once in the last 2 months, and I posted this link on a new topic, and I said, you guys got to see this." He posts today, SEM, because he's accusing me of being 20 other accounts there. Everyone else is still laughing at him. I'm just, ignorance is bliss is my account. SEM, hey, idiot, that can't back up what he is saying. Why don't you show us some pictures or videos of people killing horses? You are really an effing imbecile. He goes, you can ask Steve Jones. You don't have to quote me. You can get it right out of the horse's mouth. That was the other thing that he's answering the girl. But he goes on saying that I can't back up what anything I'm saying, which is what made me laugh. Meanwhile, this fool gave up his identity to Catherine. Here's Catherine. Remember what Forrest Gump said? That's all I got to say about that. I won't be posting on Horseplop. I won't be engaging anymore. But I made my point. There's Catherine. Logged in with the log of all the messages she received from Mr. B. The rest I'm going to leave up to the law, the state, to investigate what this man has been doing, how he's conducted himself as a, oh, I did print out the oath that every official, elected official, takes, and it gives you where they break their oath by doing, things like this. It says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of blop, blop, supervisor. We could just say that. According to the best of my ability. Violations, ethics complaints, official misconduct, removal proceedings, acting within statutory authority, avoiding conflict of interest, nothing to complain with this, not for using the office of personal and political retaliation. And when I started digging, turns out that this guy has also got a past, and I'm curious what's going to happen when his constituents and his municipality get wind of this and the things that he's been saying, and I'm able to take these quotes and hundreds of others: racism, anti-Semitism, personal threats, personal information, defamation, harassment, all while thinking, well, he was until today, anonymous. It's pretty bad, actually. And there's another gentleman over there. We're not done with you either. I say we, because I don't do anything alone. I have people that I can go to with questions and for some advice and direction, guidance, whatever. Whether it be legal, technical, moral, anything. So I have my ducks in a row when I do this. What you did, not unlike everyone that gets mad at me and says that he's a rat. No, I've taken information, handed it off to the proper officials to make sure what gets done, that what should have gotten done, gets done. It's no different than, I'm the rat, but you're willing to protect the criminals. Well, this time it's not going to work. And this started a whole ball rolling of information and access that they're not going to be able to stop. That's why, like my other friend who runs his mouth about me and my teeth and everything else, are you still in Boynton Beach? We'll just leave it at that. As for Mr. Gaagoots, I'm sure everybody else on there is going to have a field day with you. Oh, some of the other guys that were interacting and arguing with equine rescue scams, Trigger, Kirby's Ace, a couple of the other ones. And it was just, some of the guys that just kind of, they're jerks, but they have fun with it. Not too serious, whatever, like this clown. Even they got bamboozled by this. So all I can say is, gotcha. But I'm not coming back over there. I'll be reading, but make sure Mr. Goots and everybody else over there sees this video. Tell him Catherine says hi. Peace.